Everyone thought my wife, Lu Ruyan, died in a car accident, but only I knew the one who actually died was her older sister, Lu Shu. As for her, she used this fake death to shed her skin and escape, all to run off with her so-called first love, her white moonlight. I pretended to know nothing about this. I directly helped her cancel her household registration, and conveniently, as her legal spouse, took over all her company shares and positions. At the same time, I eliminated all opposition in the shortest time possible. In my past life, I exposed this bait-and-switch trick right on the spot, but she didn't show a shred of remorse. Leaning into Zhang Zhiheng's arms, she put on an act. Brother-in-law, my sister is gone. I know you're heartbroken, but look closely. I am Lu Shu, instigated by their entire family. I was painted as a crazy stalking son-in-law harassing his wife's sister. They framed me and locked me up in a psychiatric hospital. Opening my eyes again, I returned to the exact moment. The identity swap was completed. The air in the funeral parlor was freezing and stiff. My wife, Lu Ruyan, stood to the side with her eyes cast down, her fingers slightly curled. She lowered her voice, soft and hoarse. Brother-in-law, you need to take care of yourself. My sister, she left us too suddenly. On the gurney lay Lu Shu's corpse, but everyone would only believe that it was my deceased wife. Because of the accident, I walked over to Lu Ruyan. I looked at her neck. A light brown birthmark was half hidden by her collar. In my past life, this exact detail dragged me down to hell. When I questioned her with a trembling voice, she hid behind Zhang Zhiheng in mock terror. Tears streamed down my face. Zhafeng, get a grip. Your sister is gone. It's me, Lu Shu, Zhang Zhiheng, the man who saw her as the love of his life. My dear brother-in-law shoved me against the wall without a second thought. He drove me out of my mind, humiliating me, accusing me of having improper designs on my sister-in-law. Our 4-year-old daughter, Xiaoyi, innocently tugged at her hem, only to be flung away like a piece of trash. Filthy, she called her, followed by a cold, you little brat. The next day, Xiaoyi and I were deemed mentally unstable, in need of isolated treatment. That was their excuse. We were thrown out of the Lu family home. In that final freezing winter, Xiaoyi lay in my arms, so hungry she no longer had the strength to cry. She just whispered, "Daddy, I'm cold," and never woke up again. The feeling of a chill creeping up from the soles of my feet made me slowly exhale a sharp breath, suppressing the bloodshot rage swirling in my eyes, until they turned a dull, weary gray. It was all too sudden. I spoke, my voice as hoarse as sandpaper. I turned to the staff member beside me, my voice filled with pain. Just follow the procedure. Cremate her as soon as possible. Let my wife pass on with dignity. Lu Ruyan immediately looked up. Her tone was a bit rushed. Right, we should do it quickly to give Ruyan peace. I'll handle the funeral arrangements. I stood alone under the pale white lights, looking at the unfamiliar body on the gurney. My wife is now using her sister's name to walk into the future with Zhang Zhiheng that she's always dreamed of. I slowly raised my hand. In the end, I just pulled the corner of the white sheet that was slipping down. Gently, I pulled it back up, covering that cold face. Legally, Lu Ruyan is now dead. As for you, my darling, from now on, you'd better play your part as Lu Shui. I will personally clear every obstacle for you, so you can walk this stolen path with confidence. After the funeral, there was a family meeting. The atmosphere was heavy. Zhang Zhiheng sat there acting like half the master of the house. Ruyan leaned closely against him. She poured me a cup of tea. Her posture was elegant, but her voice carried a sharp edge. Brother-in-law, Ruyan left so suddenly. Some things weren't properly handed over. That company she registered in her name before the marriage. Ingtian culture. I remember it was doing quite well. She paused, seeming to find it hard to speak. I'm her only sister. Perhaps I should manage it for her for a while. After all, it was her life's work. Zhang Zhiheng gently patted the back of her hand, but his eyes were fixed on my face. My hand holding the teacup froze midair. I looked up, my eyes still red-rimmed, my voice hoarse. Ingtian culture, you say? You're talking about that company. I set the teacup down. my fingers unconsciously rubbing my brow, my expression weary and broken. That company 3 years ago, due to business losses and overwhelming debt, it was quietly deregistered. It's just an empty shell now. It's long gone. Deregistered. Impossible. She was telling me about the company's projects just last year. Telling you what? Telling you how she was robbing Peter to pay Paul. Telling you how she used her own money to fill that bottomless pit. I cut her off, my voice rising, laced with the agitation of a raw nerve being touched. It was because of that pathetic pride of hers. She didn't want you and brother-in-law to see that after leaving the Lu family, after leaving this marriage. She was a failure. I watched as her and Jiang Zhihang's expression suddenly became quite a spectacle. A chill spread through my heart. She's gone now. These embarrassing matters. I didn't want to bring them up. I lowered my head. My shoulders slumped. My voice fading into weary exhaustion. Sister, brother-in-law, now that Ruyan is gone, Xiaoyao and we truly have no one to rely on. If you still have any family feeling left, could you please look after Xiaoya a little? I would be eternally grateful. As for everything else, there's really nothing left. She ran it all into the ground herself. My words had positioned Xiaoya and me as the absolute victims, the helpless ones. The elders from the branch families heard this and all shook their heads and sighed. Their gazes toward Lu Ruyan and Zhang Jiheng carried a hint of disapproval. Trying to squeeze assets from a widower and his child at a time like this. It was truly a disgraceful sight. Lu Ruyan's face flushed red, then turned pale. The sorrowful expression she had painstakingly maintained nearly shattered. She could only manage to force out a sentence. I didn't know it was like that. Zhang Jiheng looked at me with a deep calculating gaze. Then he put his arm around Lu Ruyan's shoulders. His voice softened. It's all right. Shoo, don't be sad anymore. Of course, we'll take care of Jia Feng and Xiaoya. Let's talk about these things later. I sneered inwardly, but on the outside I just nodded wearily. I said nothing more, bearing the silent pain deep inside. Back at the villa where we were temporarily staying, Xiaoya's little head snuggled into my neck. She mumbled, "Daddy, does Mommy not want me anymore? You saw wrong. Sweetie." I pressed my face into her soft hair. Mommy has become a star. That other person. She just looks a little like her. That very afternoon, I took all the necessary documents and went to several places in person. Lu Ruyan's household registration was officially cancelled. The fact of her death was entered into the system. The legal traces of her existence in this world were erased one by one. Next, I contacted the legal department and the CEO's office of the Lu Corporation. My voice was somber but clear. This is Li Jiafeng. My wife, Lu Ruyan, passed away unexpectedly. According to her will and the fact that I am the sole guardian, all shares and interests in her name will now be executed by me as her representative. Please prepare the documents. I want to fully take over her positions and decision-making authority. The transfer order was finalized with maximum speed. At the same time, the massive sum from Lu Ruyan's accident insurance policy was also processed at my request. It was transferred directly into a trust fund newly established for Xiaoyi with extremely strict guardianship clauses. Any withdrawal would require complex, multi-layered procedures. Returning to the old Lu family house, my mother-in-law Lu Mingchue's sharp voice stabbed out like an icicle. A little brat, a money-losing burden. Bad luck just looking at her, just like her useless father. Both of them are here to collect debts. I stopped in my tracks. I looked over. In the middle of the living room, Xiaoyi stood alone on the thick rug. At her feet was an overturned porcelain teacup. A brown tea stain spread in a small patch on her light-colored sock. She had her head down, her small hands clutching the hem of her clothes. Her tiny body was rigid with defiance. Lu Mingchue was leaning against the expensive velvet sofa, fiddling with a string of prayer beads. But her gaze was like a sharp knife cutting into Xiaoyi, filled with unconcealed disgust. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and clean the mess you made. Such an ill-mannered thing. I called out. My voice wasn't loud, but it made the air in the living room freeze. My daughter suddenly looked up, her big round eyes instantly filled with tears. She ran to me and hugged my leg tightly. She could feel the malice directed at her. I picked her up, the damp tea stain seeping into my sleeve. I didn't look at Lu Mingchui. I just asked Xiaoyi if she was burned. Our live-in son-in-law is back. Lu Mingchui put down her prayer beads. Her voice was a long, drawn-out drawl full of sarcasm. What? You came back to be a backbone for that little money-losing burden of yours. Am I wrong? What's the use of raising a girl? Just a waste of food. If only Ryuan had given birth to a son. Mom. I cut her off. My tone calm. Xiaoyi is my daughter, not a money-losing burden. If we're not welcome here, then we'll just leave. You wish. Lu Mingchuan sat up straight. The wrinkles on her face all seemed to scream harshness. Zhang Zhihong is frail and needs someone to take care of him. I've already hired a nanny from abroad. If you don't pay for it, who will? You and your daughter have been living off the Lu family for so many years. Now that Ryuan is gone, are you planning to shirk your responsibilities? Let me tell you, don't even think about it. Zhang Zhihong let out a cough. A weak, hoarse sound. Right on cue. He emerged from the small room next door. Lu Ryuan was immediately by his side, holding a cup of warm water. After carefully helping him drink, she frowned at me. Her tone was disapproving. Brother-in-law. Mom is just upset. That's why her words are a bit harsh. Xiaoyi is still young. After all, she didn't mean to spill it. But Jihong's health is the top priority. After all, you're still the son-in-law of the Lu family, with Ryuan gone. It's only natural for you to take on a few more household responsibilities. I looked at the three of them. What a picture of a loving mother and her devoted children. I won't shirk the responsibilities I need to bear, I said slowly. My gaze swept past Lu Ryuan. But Xiaoyi is my bottom line. If anyone says anything about her again, don't blame me, Lu Zifeng, for being merciless. After saying my piece, I ignored them and carried Xiaoyi straight upstairs. Around the corner of the staircase, the door to the small balcony was slightly ajar. A deliberately hushed conversation drifted out from inside. Don't worry, Mom's bark is worse than her bite. Deep down, she still loves you very much. Right now, she only acknowledges you as her daughter. Lu Ruyan's voice held a trace of subtle triumph. This must be hard on you, having to use someone else's name. Zhang Jihong's voice was full of tenderness. For you, it's all worth it. It's just that lie. Zhang Feng and Xiaoyi are still a problem. No rush, let's take it slow. Doesn't he want to take responsibility now? Mom always has her ways. My arm holding Xiaoyi tightened slightly. Xiaoyi seemed to sense something. Her small hand gently patted my back. Back in our temporary room, I closed the door and set Xiaoyi down by the bed. I squatted down and carefully checked her socks and feet, confirming the hot tea hadn't reddened her skin. She looked at me and asked softly, Daddy, why doesn't Grandma like me? Is it because I'm not a boy? The child's words were like a small needle piercing my heart. It ached. I stroked her head. It's not your fault, Xiaoyi. Some people, their hearts are just broken. The next morning, the transfer order and the project launch notice were officially delivered. Without any hesitation, I began to pack. For the last time, I had to get out of this mire quickly. With a simple suitcase packed, I led Xiaoyi to the entrance hall. Footsteps sounded from behind me. Lu Ruyan was standing in the middle of the staircase, looking down from above at the suitcase in my hand. Her expression darkened slightly. Where do you think you're taking Xiaoyi? I folded the project launch notice and casually tucked it into my inner pocket. At the same time, I pulled Xiaoyi behind me. Where I take her doesn't seem to be any of your business. Ms. Lu. I looked at the face before me. So familiar, yet so strange. My tone was indifferent. Lu Ruyan's expression visibly stiffened for a moment. Then she frowned slightly. Brother-in-law, don't be so petulant. You're taking Xiaoyi so far away all by yourself in a strange place. What if something happens? You won't have anyone to help you. Just stay here at the old house. At least Mom, Zhihong, and I can look after you and your daughter. That won't be necessary. I cut her off, taking Xiaoyi's hand. I started to walk past her. From now on, my daughter and I won't trouble the Lu family any longer. She suddenly reached out. Her target clearly the document folder hanging from my elbow. She snatched the bag. I was caught off guard. She had the folder. She unzipped it with lightning speed. Her fingers rummaged inside, and in no time she pulled out the notice with the corporate letterhead and the project launch seal. She glanced at it and her face instantly turned grim. Without a moment's hesitation, she gripped both sides of the document. Rip. She decisively tore the paper in two. I'm doing this for your own good, Jifeng. She casually threw the torn document to the floor. The scraps of paper fluttered down. Her voice held the condescending tone of a superior offering advice. You haven't worked in years. Staying at the old house is the best and most stable option for everyone. I looked at the scattered pieces of paper on the floor. That was my way out. The key move in my plan. Rage slammed against my chest. But I just lifted my eyes and met her gaze coldly. My own good. Lu Ruyan. No, I should be calling you Lu Shu now. What right do you have to say you're doing this for my own good? Her eyes darkened and she took a step closer. Lowering her voice, that fake gentle facade vanished completely. Li, Jifeng, don't make me do this the hard way. Don't forget who's been feeding you and your daughter all these years. Every grain of rice, every drop of water from the Lu family wasn't given to you for free. Now that Ruyan is barely gone, you want to cut all ties and run off with the Lu family's bloodline. Never to return. There's no such easy deal in this world. I almost wanted to laugh. Feeding us. In my past life, when Xiao Yi was gravely ill, I knelt outside the Lu family's gate begging for their help. Who was it that had the guards chase me away like a dog? Now I want to leave and they refuse to let us go. I scoffed, my eyes as sharp as a blade. Who was it that was so eager to seize power in the company before? Lu Ruyan's expression changed. She tried to compose herself. Her tone softened, but it carried a sharp edge. Jifeng, is there some misunderstanding between us? We're family with Ruyan gone. I should be the one to take good care of you and Xiao Yi. Misunderstanding. Cut her off. My voice cold as steel. The only misunderstanding was ever thinking you people were still human. Before the words even left my mouth, I raised my hand, unleashing all my long-suppressed strength, and delivered a hard slap. The crisp sound of the slap echoed in the empty hallway. Lu Ruyan was struck so hard her face turned to the side. She stumbled back, hitting the heavy door. A red handprint quickly appeared on her face. She suddenly whipped her head back around. The shock in her eyes was instantly replaced by a vicious, hateful glare. Lu Jifeng, you dare hit me? Her shriek was ear-splitting. She'd thrown all decorum to the wind, lunging forward to grab my wrist in a death grip. Her long nails nearly dug into my flesh. She was trying to drag me back into the living room. You're not taking one step out of this house today. Security, where is everyone? Xiao Yi was so scared she burst into tears. I tried to shield my daughter while struggling to break free. Her strength was unnatural. Or maybe it was just the frenzy of a cornered animal. Just as we were locked in a chaotic struggle, the main door at the entrance, the one that required a buzz from the intercom to open, was suddenly slowly pushed open from the outside. The brilliant afternoon sun flooded in, silhouetting several figures standing against the light. The man in the lead was tall and well-built, carrying the calm authority of someone in charge. His eyes swept across the entryway, taking in the whole pathetic, chaotic scene before finally landing on Lu Ruyan, whose face was half-swollen and hair a mess, still clinging to me for dear life. Lu Ruyan froze instantly. Every movement, every sound came to an abrupt halt. The vicious look on her face went rigid, then slowly drained of all color. Mr. Li. The car is ready. The man in the lead stepped into the hall. Out of the backlight, the light now outlined his meticulously tailored, wrinkle-free suit. It was Chen Shu, the CEO's executive assistant. Behind him were two security officers, in the corporation's uniform, both with sharp, agile builds. His face was a mask of professionalism, betraying no emotion. He gave me a barely perceptible nod, then stepped to the side. He spoke to me in a calm, clear voice. Mr. Li. The private jet to Suzhou has been arranged. The car is waiting outside the door. The core members of the legal department and the project team will rendezvous with you at the airport. The briefing can be conducted during the flight. That title, Mr. Li, was like a sharp needle. jabbing directly into Lu Ruyan's nerves. Her grip on my wrist suddenly went slack. She stared at Chen Shu in utter disbelief, her voice so warped by shock and rage that it became a high-pitched shriek. "Chen Shu, what did you call him, Mr. Li? Are you blind? I'm the CEO of the Lu Corporation. What the hell is a guy like Li Zifeng that makes him worthy of that title?" Only then did Chen Shu formally turn his gaze to her. His posture was respectful, yet distant, the same way one might treat any stranger whose identity needed verification. He gave a slight nod. His tone was perfectly placid and professional. "Ms. Lu Shu, hello. Ms. Lu Ruyan has passed away. By a vote of the Board of Directors. Mr. Li Zifeng has been officially appointed as the new Chief Executive Officer of the Lu's Corporation and acting Chairman of the Board effective immediately." He paused for a moment, his eyes sweeping over Lu Ruyan's face, which had gone deathly pale. He continued in a tone as placid and unruffled as ever. "Therefore, for myself as well as for all employees of the corporation, to address Mr. Li Zifeng as Mr. Li is in full compliance with company bylaws and professional protocol. As for the identity you mentioned." Chen Shu looked at Lu Ruyan's face for a second. His gaze was so cold. It was as if he were examining a suspicious clause in a contract. "My responsibility is to serve the current highest-ranking executive of the Lu Corporation according to the official personnel appointment notice and identity confirmation I have received. Ms. Lu Ruyan has unfortunately passed away, and you are her older sister, Ms. Lu Shu, in the current personnel structure and shareholder list of the corporation. There are no active employment records under the name Lu Shu. So, to be blunt, I have not received any directive requiring me to report or confirm any change in position with you." "You're lying." Lu Ruyan completely lost control. She pointed a finger at her own nose, her body trembling violently from a mixture of extreme rage and panic. "I am Lu Ruyan. I'm the one who's Lu Ruyan. Lu Shu is the one who's dead. The one who died was Lu Shu. You've all been fooled by him. He forged the documents. He seized power illegally. Chen Shu, get the hell out of my house. You're fired." Chen Shu didn't even raise an eyebrow. He simply took half a step back. "Miss Lu Shu, please calm down." Chen Shu's voice remained perfectly level, but it carried an undeniable weight. The confirmation of Miss Lu Ruyan's identity was handled by the proper authorities who issued the legal documents and was processed by her immediate next of kin. That is Mr. Li here, who personally confirmed her identity and handled all subsequent procedures. It is all legally binding. Your current statements, if they are found to involve disrespecting the deceased and slandering the reputation of the corporation's current executive, the legal department of the corporation will reserve the right to pursue legal action against you." He no longer looked at Lu Ruyan, who was trembling so hard she looked like she might faint. Instead, he turned to me and bowed slightly. "Mr. Li, it's time. The preliminary team in Suzhou is in position and waiting for you to arrive and take charge. The nanny and the child psychologist are also waiting in the car." I nodded. I bent down and picked up Xiaoyi, who was still sniffing, wrapping her in my coat and gently patting her back. From beginning to end, I didn't spare Lu Ruyan another glance. "Li Zifeng, you can't leave. Give it back to me. That's mine. It's all mine. I am Lu Ruyan. I'm the CEO of the Lu Corporation." Lu Ruyan's desperate screams echoed from behind me. She tried to rush forward again, but was blocked by the two professionally trained security officers who held her back just inside the doorway. Politely but firmly, Chen Shu opened the main doors, revealing the world outside for me. The sunlight poured in completely, illuminating the black sedan parked at the curb, compared to the gloomy, decaying, and suffocating atmosphere inside the old house. It was like two different worlds. Carrying Xiaoyi, I stepped over the threshold of the old Lu family home. 3 days later, on the private jet to Suzhou, I was reviewing the project's field survey report. Xiaoyi was sleeping soundly in the child seat next to me. Chen Shu, holding a tablet, wore an expression more serious than I had ever seen. He walked over quickly, turning the screen toward me. Mr. Li, we have a problem. Across all major social media platforms and several business forums. Starting about half an hour ago, A flood of negative information targeting you has exploded online. On the screen was a topic that had already shot into the top 3 trending searches. New Lu Corp CEO murdered his wife for her fortune. The person who started the thread was a newly registered account, but it had a blue verification checkmark. The verification info read, "Best friend and authorized spokesperson for the late Mrs. Lu Ruyen." This account had posted a very long article accompanied by a video. In that video, she appeared under the identity of Lu Ruyen's sister. In other words, Lu Shu. She wore no makeup, dressed in a simple black sweater. Her eyes were red and swollen, her face pale and gaunt. Tears were already streaming down her face before she even spoke. She faced the camera, her voice choked and broken. Every sentence was laced with inconsolable grief. "I can't believe this is happening. I'm Lu Shu, Lu Ruyen's twin sister." The moment she opened her mouth, fresh tears began to fall. My sister. Her death was suspicious. I've been too scared to speak up. I was terrified, but I can't stay silent any longer." She looked up, her tear-filled eyes staring into the lens full of fear and accusation. "Li Zefeng, my former brother-in-law. He's a monster. He planned everything from the very beginning. My sister, Ruyen. Her death was not a simple accident. It was Li Zefeng. He's the one who killed my sister. This man from a humble background married into our Lu family and lived off us for all these years. On the surface, he was always obedient to Ruyen, but in reality, he was always after the Lu family's fortune. He took advantage of Ruyen's trust, secretly embezzling assets and forging all sorts of documents. Right before the accident, Ruyen had already discovered some clues and was about to confront him. And the result was that car accident. When I went to question him, he threatened me. He said if I dared to say a word, he would make sure something happened to Xiaoyi, too. He used the child to threaten me. I had no choice. I could only watch helplessly as my sister was barely cold in her grave, and he couldn't wait to produce a will that came out of nowhere, stealing everything that rightfully belonged to my sister. He stole the Lu Corporation. He didn't even bother to pretend for a few more days. The funeral had just ended and he was already trying to kick me, my mother, and everyone Ruyen truly cared about out of the Lu family home. He hit me, called me crazy, and wouldn't let me near Xiaoyi. He wants to erase every trace of Ruyen's existence so that a murderer like him can legitimize his takeover of the Lu family. At this point in the video, she was sobbing too hard to speak, nearly collapsing. A man's hands entered the frame from the side, gently supporting her. He handed her a tissue. It was Zhang Siheng. He said sorrowfully, "Shushu, don't say any more. You can't take it. We can't let Ruyen die without getting justice for her." The video ended and automatically redirected to a long article. The article, written from the perspective of Lu Ruyen's sister, detailed how I had supposedly oppressed Lu Ruyen, how I had meticulously orchestrated the car accident, and how I had used my young daughter as a bargaining chip. It claimed that after my initial scheme to take over the Lu Corporation failed, I rushed to collude with outside investors to seize control of the company. The language in the article was extremely inflammatory, painting me as a scheming social climber who lived off his wife, a monster who murdered his wife to silence her, a modern-day cautionary tale of a ruthless gold digger. The comments section had absolutely exploded. The top comments were all filled with rage and curses. "This is the real-life Gone Girl. Even more ruthless than the movie. He even used his own kid. This guy is the king of all social climbers. That poor Ms. Lu. She really married a monster." Watching her sister cry in the video broke my heart. Why doesn't this bastard just die already? Murdering your wife for her money. Unforgivable. At Yongqing police, you guys need to investigate him now. So, that's why the cremation was so fast. He was destroying the evidence. The more I think about it, the more terrifying it is. Are the shareholders of Lu Corp all idiots? How could they let someone like this become CEO? Everyone, let's dox this scumbag. Company address, phone number, and even the preschool of that bastard kid. Some popular online commentators had already begun their in-depth analysis, charting my journey after marrying into the family. my step-by-step infiltration of the core business operations at Lu Corp after the wedding. They created a timeline, deliberately linking it to the time of Lu Ruyan's sudden death to conclude that it was all premeditated. There was even an anonymous insider who revealed that I have an extremely stubborn and controlling personality, and that while she was alive, Lu Ruyan had complained to friends many times that she wanted to divorce, but was too afraid. The cabin was unusually quiet, the only sound being the roar of the engines. Qinshu looked at me, awaiting my instructions. There was a hint of worry in his eyes, but mostly he was calm. I turned off the tablet. The screen went dark, reflecting my face, reflecting my expressionless face. Outside the airplane window, a thick blanket of clouds stretched on. The sunlight glinting off the sea of clouds was blinding. I leaned back in my seat and closed my eyes. Lu Ruyan and Zhang Jiheng. So they couldn't hold back from playing the public opinion card so soon. Quite the performance. All that crying. Fine. I'll let you cry your hearts out. My counterattack began with a single encrypted zip file. The program's execution was flawless. A data packet, disguised under layers of camouflage and technically untraceable, was sent with pinpoint accuracy. It went to the core gossip accounts that started the initial rumors, the back channels, and the inboxes of some of the most influential financial investigative reporters in the country, along with several veteran legal blogs. The email had no subject line, just a single access code. Opening it revealed a clear timeline and an undeniable chain of evidence. The first piece of evidence was an audio clip from the black box of Lu Ruyan's wrecked car, retrieved before it was sent for repairs. In the final moments before the crash, the recording captured her in the garage. Lu Ruyan's voice was filled with a suppressed, cruel excitement. I have to make Lu Shu disappear, make it look like an accident. Only when she's completely gone can I use her identity to get back to Zhang Jiheng's side. And as for that idiot, Lei Zifeng, he's the perfect stepping stone and scapegoat for me. The second piece of evidence was a secret photo of Lu Ruyan and Zhang Jiheng taken at some private club. The timestamp was from 2 years ago, 1 week before my wedding anniversary with Lu Shu. In the photo, the two of them were incredibly intimate, far crossing in line of a normal brother-in-law and sister-in-law relationship. Attached below are records from the same period detailing their frequent hotel visits together and their shared overseas expenses. The third document is a medical record from a private clinic for Lu Shu, dated 1 week before the accident. It includes a copy of the file and the doctor's testimony. The records show that Lu Shu was pregnant at the time, nearly 2 months along, but the pregnancy was highly unstable. The doctor strongly advised her to be hospitalized for bed rest, stating she was absolutely unfit for long-distance travel. Yet, the business trip to inspect the new project was forced upon her by Lu Ruyan, using the excuse that her sister needed to relax. She pushed for it and personally booked the itinerary for Lu Shu. There are no sappy words, no subjective accusations, just cold, hard evidence arranged in chronological order. But this information is like a drop of water in a pan of boiling oil. It instantly ignites a storm of public opinion 10 times more violent than before. The difference is, this time, the eye of the storm has completely shifted direction. The investigative journalists and legal bloggers who received the email, after recovering from their shock, quickly cross-verified the facts and reported on it with careful precision. The financial sector and high society gossip columns are in an absolute uproar. An earth-shattering plot twist, dumping the wife for her fortune. No, it's an evil woman murdering her sister and stealing her identity to seize the family wealth. The most melodramatic scandal of the year. Twin sister murders. Her older sister steals her identity and lives with her brother-in-law. The latest evidence points directly at Lu Ruyan, Zhang Jiheng, and the death of Lu Shu. The car crash was likely staged, forging a will, embezzling assets, and even spying on her husband and daughter. Is this woman a literal demon? Where are all the people who were cursing CEO Li earlier? Come out and apologize. He wasn't some gold digger scamming them. He was clearly devoured by a family of venomous snakes, chewed up until not even his bones were left. The netizens' outrage swiftly changes targets. The previous insults hurled at the gold digger dumping his wife completely transform into fierce condemnation against the impostor who murdered her sister, and even more intense backlash against the adulterous brother-in-law. The social media accounts of Lu Ruoyan and Zhang Jihang are instantly paralyzed, flooded with all kinds of curses and demands for the truth. The friends and marketing accounts who had previously spoken up for them either quietly delete their posts or get exposed by netizens with proof of being paid shills. It's a total disaster. More importantly, this information is also delivered right to Lu Mingchui. Chun Shuxing arranged for someone to take the printed documents bound together with color copies of several key pieces of evidence and send them directly to the Lu family's old estate, handing them right to Lu Mingchui. Word has it that at the time Lu Ruoyan and Zhang Jihong were at the old estate trying to pacify Lu Mingchui while discussing ways to handle the negative public opinion against them online. Lu Mingchui locked herself in the study for nearly an hour. Then from inside the study came an earth-shattering crash followed by a piercing scream and hysterical voice-cracking sobs. "You animal, Lu Ruoyan, you absolute animal. How could you do it? That was your own flesh and blood. Your own sister. Shu, my poor Shu. You died so unjustly. I was blind. I'm the one who killed you. And you, Zhang Jihong, you heartless beast. How has the Lu family ever mistreated you? How dare you conspire with this treacherous brat to murder Shu? You neither of you will meet a good end. Get out, both of you. Get the hell out of here. Get out of the Lu family. I never want to see your faces again. I'm calling the cops. I'll make you pay with your lives for my daughter." Immediately after came the sounds of a violent scuffle and furniture being smashed. With a final shattering crash, Lu Ruoyan and Zhang Jihong practically fled for their lives, dodging the shards of vases that Lu Mingchui threw at them along with her vicious curses. They escaped the Lu estate in absolute disgrace. At the temporary headquarters of the Lu Corporation's new energy base in Xuchang, outside the massive floor-to-ceiling windows of the office, the modern industrial park is gradually taking shape, contrasting sharply with the lush green mountains in the distance. I'm with the core members of the project team finalizing the grid integration plan. The internal phone rings. The secretary's voice sounds a bit hesitant. "Xiao Li, there's a woman at the front desk insisting on seeing you. She says her name is Lu Ruoyan. She doesn't have an appointment and she seems highly unstable. Security has stopped her, but she refuses to leave." The meeting room instantly falls silent. Several senior managers exchange glances and quietly gather their documents. I raise my hand. Meeting paused for 10 minutes. "Bring her to the small reception room on the west side of the first floor. I'll be right down." That reception room is in a secluded corner rarely used on a normal day. When I push the door open and walk in, Lu Ruoyan stood before the window, her back to the door. She wore a pink trench coat that looked expensive, but was slightly wrinkled. Her hair lacked its usual perfect styling. A few stray strands fell messily against her neck. Hearing the door open, she turned around. It had only been a little over a month, but she had lost a shocking amount of weight. Dark circles shadowed her eyes too deep to be completely hidden by makeup. Her eyes, once so captivating, were now shot with blood vessels and a frantic panic like a cornered animal. When she saw me, her lips trembled and parted. But before she could form any words, large tears began to roll down her cheeks without warning, smudging her eyeliner. "Ziffing," she began, her voice terrifyingly hoarse and thick with sobs. She staggered 2 steps toward me as if wanting to come closer, but froze under my cold gaze. "Ziffing, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong now." She covered her face, her shoulders shaking violently. She was crying so hard she could barely breathe. It was a kind of raw, broken anguish completely stripped of her former composure. Zhang Zihong, he's not human." The moment everything was exposed, he pinned all the blame on me. He took every last cent I had access to. Turns out he had an escape plan all along. He used a fake identity to set everything up overseas. He never planned on having a future with me. He was just using me to get the Lu family's resources. Using me to get rid of Lu Shu. I was tricked by him. He played me for a complete fool. She broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. sobbing as she recounts Zhang Zihang's heartlessness and his meticulous calculations, how he used sweet words to coax her and how ruthlessly he abandoned her. The moment things went south, she cries for herself, claiming she was possessed by demons. She cries for wronging her sister, Lu Shu, and she cries even harder for wronging me. Ziffing, I regret it. I really regret it. She looks up, her tear-filled eyes trying to read my expression through the blur. Her face is a mess of tears, snot, and ruined makeup, looking utterly pathetic. Yet, a desperate glimmer flashes in her eyes like someone clutching at a lifeline. The person I've always loved deep down is you. Only you. Me and Zhang Zihang. That was just a moment of weakness, a foolish childhood obsession. I only realized later that you're the one who treats me the best. You're Xiaoyi's father. You're my husband. She tries to get closer, reaching out a trembling hand. Let's start over. Please. I don't want anything else anymore. I don't need the Lu Corporation. I don't need the status. I just need you and our child. The three of us. Let's leave this place. Go somewhere no one knows us and live a good life together. Okay. From now on, I promise I'll treat you well. I'll treat Xiaoyi well. I'll be a good wife. A good mother. I'm begging you. Give me one more chance. Zifeng. I'm begging you. Her cries echo in the empty little reception room filled with desperate pleading. I remain silent, just listening. My face shows absolutely no emotion. No anger. No pity. Just an unfathomable, bottomless void. It isn't until she cries herself hoarse, nearly collapsing to the floor, that I finally make a move. I don't look at her outstretched hand, nor do I respond to her pleas. I simply turn around and walk toward a side door in the reception room that connects to the internal hallway. I open the door. Outside, my personal assistant is holding Xiaoyi, who just got back from her extracurricular class. Seeing me, Xiaoyi's eyes light up. She reaches out her little arms. Daddy. I bend down and scoop her up firmly into my arms. Xiaoyi naturally wraps her arms around my neck, curiously poking her head to look into the reception room. She looks at the strange auntie crying so hard. Her makeup is ruined. The little girl's face shows a bit of confusion, but no fear. She just snuggles closer to me, holding her. I turn back around, facing Lu Ruyan, who has instantly stopped crying and is staring blankly at us. I use Xiaoyi's small, soft body as a barrier between me and her, the last possible distance between us. Lu Ruyan, I say, my voice completely calm, without a single ripple of emotion. Legally speaking, my wife, Lu Ruyan, is already dead. She can never be brought back. Don't ever come bothering me again. You know exactly what I'm capable of. The elevator stops at the top floor. The doors open to a sunlit hallway where my team of 5 assistants is waiting for me. I carry my daughter out, my voice blending into the brilliant light. Some things once lost are gone for a lifetime,